The richest bosses in the land are making more money than ever before. BRW magazine has just completed its first ever survey of chief executive salaries. In theory, chief executives also have bosses, their board of directors. But as Jonathan Creek reports, in practice, they're so well compensated, you'd be surprised if they have a care in the world.
They're the richest bosses in the land. And thanks to BRW magazine's Executive Rich List, we know exactly how wealthy they are.
A lot of these guys have produced some very big returns for shareholders over the last year. And I think this probably reflects that Australian businesses are pretty well managed.
BRW's James Thompson compiled the eclectic 200 name list, which features everyone from bookmaker and Centrebet managing director Con Cafetaris, with shares worth $35 million, to skateboarders turned executive directors of Globe International, Peter and Stephen Hill, with just a little bit more.
That's the inspiring thing for people who, eventually like to get on this list, and we probably all would, that there's no certain industry you have to come from.
That said, 39 of the richest 200 executives hail from the resource sector. Leading the way is overall fourth place getter Andrew Forrest. The Fortescue Metals Group chief executive is Australia's richest miner, with a whopping $1.8 billion in shares. His fortune more than doubling in 12 months.
It's a phenomenal growth story, and, it'll be interesting to see whether he can keep it going.
Seven Network Executive Chairman Kerry Stokes is, fittingly enough, the seventh wealthiest executive in the country, with shares totalling just over $1 billion.
I guess Stokes's fortunes, another one that's increased quite sharply over the last few years as Channel 7's fortunes have improved and the ratings have got a lot better.
Stokes's rival, Publishing and Broadcasting Executive Chairman James Packer, sits at number 2 overall, with $4.9 billion.
Interesting point about James is that he doesn't take a salary like his father before him. He works for free, although, he gets to enjoy a healthy bank balance.
Westfield Group Executive Frank Lowy comes in at number 3 with $3.5 billion worth of shares. He also takes a salary of $13.2 million a year, but
Frank gives it all away to charity every year, so I guess that's a pretty noble thing to do.
Heading the list is News Corporation Chairman Rupert Murdoch, with shares worth $11.5 billion. He also takes the highest salary of all the executives, worth just over $33 million a year. That means in the time it's taken to tell you this story, about 2 minutes, Rupert would have earned around $530. Not bad at all.
It's a huge company, so I guess you could argue that he's got a lot of responsibility and he's worth it.
Penelope McLagan is the first female on the list at number 37, the executive director at Computershare. Her fortune stands at $162 million. But where are all the other women? It's a sad state of affairs, according to James Thompson.
This is the disappointing thing. There's only 4 women on the list, which is, a very low proportion. And I think it says a few things. It says we're not doing enough to encourage female entrepreneurs. And I think it also says that the glass ceiling that a lot of people think women have managed to break through maybe isn't quite as smashed as we like to think it is.
Jonathan